Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Socially Wired with me, Vanessa, and Tiago on the other side. And this is our third episode, and let's kick things right off the ground with some tech news. Tiago, let us know what is going on.
Hey Vanessa, yeah, nice to see you all. Your smiley faces on the other side. Indeed, there's some juicy tech news, and we cannot go anywhere else but on Threads, the latest feature or latest product from Meta, from Instagram, and it just launched yesterday by the time of recording. But in less than or in 24 hours, it reached the milestone of 50 million users, which is huge. Indeed. But unfortunately, we are facing the same kind of problem that we had and that we still have with BART, which is it's not rolled out yet to Europe. So we cannot test it, we cannot use it, which it's a bit sad, but we'll find a way, we'll figure it out, and or we'll have to wait a little bit until we can actually use it. And it's funny because we are seeing already a lot of fighting, and seems that Meta hired or poached maybe a couple employees from Twitter, and now the lawyer from Meta is claiming that they are using intellectual property from Twitter and the secrets from the platform, using it now on Threads, which might become like a fight. But let's see how that goes. How do you see that, Vanessa? And how do you think that can compare to Twitter?
Well, I'm kind of bugged by all this because it's another social media platform that we have to manage as people working in social media and with social media. So another one, I guess. But it's been a very interesting 24 hours since the launch of Threads. And we are seeing lots of people trying this new app. But here in Portugal, at least, we are not able to yet use Threads by Meta. So I'm really looking forward to trying this new app. But for now we don't have access to it. I've been like
No.
refreshing the app store on a daily basis to on hourly basis to check out if we already have the app available for us here in Portugal or in Europe, but it seems like not really. So regarding Twitter, I don't know, but I feel like Elon Musk just wants us to stop using Twitter altogether. I'm really curious to try out Threads, as I said, but we can't. And everybody's saying how Threads is the Twitter killer. I'm not sure if it is or not, but I'm really excited to see how things will play out on the next few days or weeks because it is really a similar looking app in to Twitter. It really looks like Twitter, and I've seen like some influencers and other people that I knew from Twitter already posting on Instagram screenshots of the Threads app, and you can go from Instagram directly to Threads if you tap on a story that has that screenshot. So I've seen a lot of people using it for the past 24 hours, but I'm just really, really eager to see what happens on the next days because as you were saying, we were having a conversation previously to this podcast, Tiago, you were mentioning that it has already lots and lots of people jumping in to this new app, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's the main advantage in this case of rolling this feature or this product, this new social media, let's say, through Instagram, is that the it rolls out to like millions of people right away. Even us that don't have access, I've been seeing some of my friends on Instagram, and it's like, now you can see his thread, or like someone created threads, and I'm like, okay, I want to see it, and you can't, which is a bit annoying. But indeed, I think that that's the main feature, and that's the reason. Because I was just checking, and it seems that the code of Twitter is open source, so they might even actually use bits of Twitter directly, which is kind of interesting. And I think that's why the app is like so similar. But this is very Meta or Facebook fashion. We've seen this
Yeah.
happening over and over and over again, and they are just
Doing what they
using
do
or
best.
implementing features. Yeah, indeed, indeed. So yeah, I'm not very surprised.
Yeah, I think no one's really surprised about that. But regarding being or not the Twitter killer, I just think people need to chill, take a step back, because I just saw this morning someone write on Twitter, which is ironic. Everybody's talking about threads in Twitter. So,
Yes.
and I saw this person saying that we cannot not judge a new app versus an app that's been around for 17 years or so. So we just need to chill and see what is going to happen, because I don't think anyone remembers. I didn't remember myself, but Meta, or previously Facebook, already had a Threads app that didn't go so well. I think it was like back in 2012 or something. I don't know. It was uh, a few years ago, and that didn't work out. So let's see what happens. I know it's really, they're kind of serving you candy, because you can have your followers from Instagram directed into your Threads account. So you just jump on the app and you already have all these
No.
followers. So I know that's really uh, something that people will enjoy, having lots of followers from the get go. But I don't know. I just think, as someone working in social media, I think we just need to chill and see what will come up on the next few days.
Chill and see what happens next. That was exactly what OpenAI have done with thousands of developers that wanted to use GPT-4, but they were only being able to use Chat or GPT-3 and 3.5. And they've been asking for GPT-4 since April, and now finally it's unrolling, or it's rolling out for developers, which means that the apps that are based with the use of GPT 3 and 3.5 will have an upgrade. What does this mean? We'll see. But essentially, if we think, or if we compare the use through ChatGPT with 3.5 versus 4, we can see that the language model is smarter. It gives us better answers. And now, finally, we can see that being possible to be used by developers, which I think will bring even more exciting tools to our hands.
I don't know, because, well, I just left the pro subscription for ChatGPT, because it is not serving my needs right now, or for what they are advertising. It is not serving my needs, so I just stopped paying, and I will not be renovating the subscription for now. Because what I was using it for, or what I would like to use it mostly for, was the browsing feature, and that is not working well. It is so buggy, and it never actually gives you what you asked for, or it shifts into GPT 3.5, and you can't use the browsing feature. So I don't know what they're doing, but I am not seeing, for me right now, I'm not seeing like real benefits from using ChatGPT. So I don't know. I don't want to think about it for now. I'm trying new apps to see what sticks, but I don't see a bright future for ChatGPT as a product, but I see it as something beneficial to introduce into other apps in the Microsoft ecosystem, like we discussed on previous episodes. But as a standalone, I think it's dying. I think it's dying.
Sure, we see more and more possibilities, but here I think it's important to say that leverage or like letting developers using GPT-4, the language model, it doesn't specifically mean that will. You're right. I think plenty of other applications are using GPT-4 or 3.5. So I think it's like ChatGPT is losing its place. It's
Yeah.
not king anymore, and there are other apps, other possibilities, other websites that you can use it. But I think the using or leveraging the language model of GPT-4 might be interesting. So let's see what happens. But there's
Because I
another
wonder if the app,
exciting thing that I've seen. I mean, exciting depends.
we just had a laggy. Okay, I was saying because I wonder
Yes.
if we are using ChatGPT and people to use the API, I think they have to pay as well the pro subscription. I'm not sure, but I think they do. And if they are also
No,
paying and
I
not
think they
having the
pay.
full.
Well, I think so. Here, I think for a developer, they pay by request. So the more they use the language model, the more they pay. So they pay per request. And the thing is, it's exactly that. Like a developer can create an app like ChatGPT that will integrate with browsing by themselves instead of using ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is a way for us mortals to use this language model, and the integration with the browsing sucks. And that's exactly what now perhaps can be improved. It's not using the browsing feature that was created for ChatGPT, but it's how can we integrate browsing with the GPT-4 language model. So it's a bit of like kind of loop, because ChatGPT is what we know, but then he uses GPT, and it's kind of complex. But I think in the end, it might bring some good news. But yeah, we gotta wait and see what people do with that. But I'm pretty excited, and it was kind of the similar level of excitement when I found out there's a Twitch that is streaming 24 hours a debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And the interesting thing is that no one is running it. So like they are 24 hours discussing between themselves topics that they find relevant. So when I was listening to it lastly, like they were talking about like the threads, they were talking about Twitch. So I think it's interesting that we'll see them discussing anything. But I think it's a pretty cool place to go.
Yeah, and we've seen stuff like other Twitch 24-hour Twitch streaming channels powered by AI. I can't remember the name of the channel, but this guy had these generated fake deep fakes impersonating like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Eminem or lots of different known personalities. And they were also, I think they were being prompted by the chat in Twitch, and they were like having they could ask the AI questions, and what the character they would like to ask that question, and that character would answer the question. It would like change from Joe Biden into Celine Dion or something, and because that person asked, "I want Celine Dion to answer this question," and would give it the question, and the AI would turn from Joe Biden to Celine Dion and then answer the question. And this ran off for like months, I think, when the Chat GPT and the AI kind of boomed a few months back. And yeah, this is quite interesting, and I'm just finding out about this now. I'm definitely going to check out. Do you know, Tiago, if they are being prompt, or how is the conversation between them being generated?
I think they just keep feeding each other. So I believe that on the beginning there might have been like a list of stuff, like human. I mean, I believe that they were tested before, but as you mentioned already, like there have been these kind of models, not specifically political, but like these happened before. So with these, like we've seen this before, and this is just a different application. But I was expecting just to hear like on the political point of view, but actually they were discussing like mundane, everyday kind of things about Twitch, and I think that's the cool part that we see, like the runners for the elections, for the presidentials to be discussing everyday things like Twitch or I don't know, threads on Instagram. I think that's the interesting part. And I think when you actually see it, whenever you turn it on, like that, you'll see like you'll have a different experience than anyone else at any other time. So yeah, whenever you've got like a 2 minute break, like, oh, why not? Let's see what they are talking
I'll
about.
definitely check it out. Yeah, definitely.
Talking about new features, Midjourney keeps on giving, and we are seeing two new features. One was rolled out about a week ago, and the other one was just a couple days ago. First, we had Zoom Out, which essentially with Midjourney, we are creating images with generative AI, creating images that we can prompt. And now we can basically grab an image and use it to prompt as well, which that's something that we could do before, but we could use a Zoom Out. And what Zoom Out means is that we can use a picture that was only like a face, for instance, and we zoom out and we got more stuff on the image, and we can do it like more and more. So we've been seeing some people playing with it, with famous pictures of actors on movies, this kind of stuff that we've only ever seen that kind of frame, and now suddenly they can see like zoomed out, they can see other stuff. And they rolled out also the panning, which is kind of similar, but instead of zooming out, you can create the frame on the right or on the top, bottom left, and keep on like building. So we've seen this kind of stuff with generative AI image creation, but now it's with Midjourney, which is, I think it's one of, if not the most powerful generative AI image creation, and it's very interesting. I think the zoom out is a very, very cool feature, and again, just new tools, new features keeps on giving.
Yeah, Midjourney is a fantastic image generator AI. I've seen lots of people trying different prompts and always having these great images put in, and we see it here on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, we've seen like people and yourself included, Tiago, you've been creating all these images for your thumbnails and other stuff, and I've seen lots of people using that for creating social media assets and asking Midjourney to do the most ridiculous ideas to put it into to practice in this app. And I've seen amazing things. Really, I already I don't have any more prompts to give to Midjourney because I already ran out of them, and now will have to pay if I want to work with Midjourney again. But I feel tempted to have the Midjourney subscription because so far from what I've seen, it's the best image generative AI out there. So yeah, I'm really pumped. I think the creator ecosystem right now, whether you're any type of creator, is really exciting. It's really exciting. So, and from that, let's we have a kind of different theme right now for the second segment of the podcast, and we are actually going to talk about our journey as creators and as people who have lived with technology for all our whole lives so far. And basically, I was thinking about how the fact that I was uh, that how the fact that technology was present in my life from such a young age, how much that influenced me as a creator, because I can still remember the first video camera I got, or the first video game or console that I had, or PC, and how that influenced me, because I was able to put in my creativity into and transforming it to something that was kind of tangible, whether it was a video, whether it was a screenplay, because I actually wrote screenplays for plays back in school. Uh, uh, funny stories. But I think from the beginning, if you kind of have that mindset that, yes, I want to create something, or in my case, I wanted to tell visual stories. So I kind of gravitated um, normally towards video, not photography, because I I think it's a skill, it's a plus, but it was towards video. I was really oriented by that, and I think my father kind of stimulated that on me, because from an early age he got me a camera, and well, I just tried things. How about you, Tiago? How about your journey?
Yeah, I think my relation with all these tech world started more on a very like geeky. I think HTML, like coding stuff. I was my brother is an IT engineer, and I remember when he first had his page, and we're talking about like a FTP, like it's like a file, like you would only see files. But I'm
Right.
like, what do you mean you can, like, you created these and you can access these like somewhere else? Like I was like, wow. And then like you started to code the first HTML pages, like hello world, and like there's a button in red and I can change it to blue and whatever, really really basic stuff. And I was like, how can I do it? Like I want to try it. And it was like, well, that's HTML, give it a look on HTML tutorial. So I've done that, and I started to build stuff from that. Like how can I make something practical with these? And like the journey moved on, and at a certain moment, and I think we were in MySpace. I was designing a kind of MySpace differently for people which used HTML. So that was kind of like my start with social media. From then, and a few years after, came Facebook. And back then, I was running like a media agency where we were working photography, video, but then design and web design, and social media started to make sense. I think we were in 2009 the first time that we were contracted to do a political campaign, and they were like, let's make the use of social media. And I remember to be like, okay. And I googled social media networks, and like there was like, I don't know, like it was wild. Like there was like social media that never grew or anything. And back then, like you didn't know many. Like there was Facebook, there was Twitter, but then there was like all these like random stuff. But I think that was my first jump into it. And then through time and my passion for photography, it stayed like there for a long time. I didn't explore video until actually very recently. So I think like with these like storytelling and video, you are way more experienced, and you explore that way back in time. But when was the moment that social media actually started to be part of your life, and then professionally?
Yeah. Well, social media, I think I started running pages in social media back in 2009, uh, when I
Okay.
was in college. So I had a couple of projects in college that needed some visibility. And well, Facebook was just starting. here in Portugal, and I thought, well, let's create a page for this. And that was kind of how I started, in college, testing things just to give visibility to these projects locally. And that was kind of how I did things. I kind of jumped into it, but I already had my personal profiles there, and I kind of already was, showing people what I was creating, because YouTube was already around. And I remember that my first YouTube video, I posted that in 2008, something like that. Yeah, January 2008. It was like it's not available right now, so don't go into YouTube trying to find that video, because it had my friends there, and it was kind of a parody slash whatever. We were kids, and that was my first upload to YouTube. And in college, I used YouTube to shot a few things for college, for projects, for school, and it kind of took off because I was not that 16-year-old anymore that created first web page. And like you said, I used front page because it was drag and droppy. It was kind of the first version of that. I used front page, and I created a web page that only my parents, my close family and friends, and some school teachers kind of had access to it, because I could not promote it further back then. But with social media, what I thought, this is an excellent tool to reach more people. So if I create something, it will not just be on my ecosystem. It has the possibility to jump to more places out there. So I kind of think I grew into that. I went into marketing. I studied digital marketing, and I have a business degree. But I I always focused on the creating part, and by using social media, we can elevate, or uh, yeah, elevate the content creation and give it to more and more people. So that's how I work with brands. We create better content to reach more and more people that resonate with that. So that that's kind of my story in terms of how I jumped into this.
Yeah, I think on the moment that I learned, that I understood that social media could be used for for business essentially. We were very related with the music industry when I had a business, just like events and music and stuff. So like these MySpaces profiles were like mostly DJs or artists, and back then like they would drive their business through MySpace. And that's why they were paying someone to design them like their MySpace. And that was the moment that I understood that, oh wait, this is, you can make a business, you can run a business out of social media. But then if we go back, and I remember, you might have had as well like a photo log. There was this website where you would post a picture every day. I think I was probably like, I don't know, 12, maybe something like that, which is, I think it's the moment that in school you want to be popular, and there are people that are popular and you're not popular, or you like, like these like personal brand offline. But then Photolog, and I think it was the same time as i5, would enable this popularity to move to digital. And that was the moment that I understood that social media is not just for business, but it's actually your personal brand. You can actually, do something with it, and you can. And I think the funny part, I was never the popular guy in school. I think it was quite the opposite. But finally, I could hack it somehow, which is, if you're actually, if you leverage yourself a little bit better online, maybe that will end up taking your offline personal brand a bit better. Spoiler alert, I think it didn't. But I think, like, I think that was the moment that I understood, like, oh, personal brand, it's important. How do you see how do you see these, Vanessa?
Well, I didn't have Photolog, but I had i5. Everybody here in Portugal, I think, had it. And MySpace, I love MySpace. There are a few bands that I discovered through MySpace that uh, after MySpace, I don't know where to find them anymore. So their songs, their music, I can find them on Spotify, and I love them.
Mm,
Uh, this band, this Portuguese band, they sang in English. They were called Ala Polaca, and I love their
okay.
sound so much, and I can't find them anywhere because MySpace is gone. Um, so yeah, good memories. But in terms of personal branding, well, I think I never consciously thought about, oh yeah, I will leverage my personal brand. I think I really only understood this when I started working, for a living in social media. That I saw all these people like pseudo gurus and stuff, like talking to cameras and making posts about their businesses and their brands and how they're helping other businesses and other brands. And that was kind of the first time, so it was not so long ago that I thought, well, this is what personal brand means. You're leveraging your knowledge and your personality to gain traction for your business, while using these digital platforms. So I it's like I said before, I was only focused on the content, and mainly a lot of the time focus on the content that I was producing for brands. And just after that, I kind of understood that I kind of am a personal brand without having to try a lot. So when I understood that I was this tiny little personal brand, I thought, okay, so let's leverage this up a bit. And when I left my one of my previous jobs, I kind of, gained traction from that job because it was a big company here in Portugal, and I kind of leveraged that and my knowledge from working there for a long time. And yeah, this is a personal brand now. Like, let's build branding around it and try to gain more from it. And I kind of gained more from it. I public speaking events, presences on podcasts. I started teaching uh, in schools and universities, and I'm out there thanks to social media. I have a business that I run and clients, and yeah, and hopefully I can make a, a, a living out of content creation if I keep going, and keep on leveraging what I have, my skills, my knowledge, and my personality. So yeah, it's definitely a a big tool and a big skill to have, um, to build a personal brand. Definitely, definitely.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, your pathway, it was definitely inspiring for me to we crossed paths through the podcast, perhaps through beer, in a
Yeah.
way, and I remember to be inspired through your pathway, like the way your personal brand was built, the way you were leveraging that, and the opportunities that came when you were transition career, or like the way you were working. And that's, I think that's literally what something that I've done very recently, which is like with freelancing, with starting your own business kind of thing. It's, yeah, your personal brand, it's you can directly move through to freelance, and people, you got traction because you got a brand, you know what you're doing, and people wanted to work with you before but couldn't because you didn't have time to spare for them. And I think for me it's been like very interesting to to change career recently, and being able to work right away. But I think even before that, on the personal brands as well. So I've started a beer podcast about like 4 years ago, and that was my way to express myself, to have my little corner that I could talk, not as a brand, not as the brand that I was working for, but as myself. And what that gave me was that it actually made me get the next job, the next gig, which was a job that I wouldn't get any other way but through my personal brand. And I think what we can do with personal branding is, like, if we do a good job, like if we become known, if we become respected in our niche, the dream employer, the dream brand that we wanted to work for, that we admire, they'll be looking for us. They'll be willing to hire us because suddenly we are experts in that niche. We have an audience, and if we can do that without means, which usually that's the case of a personal brand, we don't have a lot of money to invest in our brands. But now, if we have the power of money within a brand, what can we do? And I think that's how I got my previous gig. I don't think I would get it any other way, but through being an expert on the beer niche these days.
Yeah, definitely. I I really think that that is a big boost, to be exposed, to create content, to be in front of a camera, to write and to post what you write, your thoughts, your learnings from projects you had, and your insights from those projects. I think, sharing is caring. I know it's a big cliche, but if you give people, your knowledge, it's like Gary Vaynerchuk says, well, I'm giving these things for free because in the long run people will want to work with me, not because of these tips, because I give them for free. They want to work with me because I am this person that does this and that and has these expertise and is able to, you know, come up with creative ways to do things and explore things and fix things. So, in what people really want from you is your personality, because the tips are free, and everybody has, thoughts about things and insights about things. What they really want is your ability to, you know, make things work in different situations. I think that in the long run, that's what people really want. And yeah, definitely put
Yeah,
your personal brand out
I
there.
think the information, like the way we learn about anything, it's available to anyone anywhere. So, like, like, that's knowledge is it's very democratic nowadays. Like, you can access things for free. Great tips from Gary Vee, but any other creators, business minds, they expose themselves to us giving the secrets. And that's the thing, like, I think a company, or like anyone that wants to develop their marketing, their brand, they they know that there's information out there, but they don't have the time, they don't have the means, they don't want to implement it. And I think that's the important thing, is like, through our personal adventures, through our personal podcasts, storytelling, we are gaining experience, which is then valuable to troubleshoot whenever we're working with the brand, and their brands is not sure what can we do. I know what can we do, because I've been through that. So I think it's very valuable. Even if, I mean, most of the times when we're creating content for ourselves, it's hard to to transform it into money right away. One of the ways to monetize is through freelancing. But then that's the thing. Like, in the long run, if we think on the long run, there are ways, and it's happening with both of us, that we can actually monetize our passion that we started like in 2008. I think that's when I posted my first YouTube video as well. And almost 50, or actually 15 years after, people look for us and want to work for us because that experience that we gained through all these years.
Yeah, but it's definitely challenging, because we work with social media. We use these platforms to post our creations, our podcasts, our videos, our scripts, our writings, whatever, our ideas and thoughts. We use these platforms. I wouldn't say 24/7 because I would like to think that you sleep. Tiago. I try to sleep.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but we are definitely more exposed also to this grinding because social media never sleeps, and you kind of sometimes it's confusing what is your job and what is leisure and scroll time just for the sake of scrolling and not work, because sometimes it can feel like it's always work because you take ideas from what you see everywhere. You take ideas, you take inspirations, and where is the line? I'm still trying to figure it out myself. I don't know. What do you think about that? But I don't know where's the line. What is work and what is, just mindless scrolling?
Yeah, so I think on scrolling, I think it's mindless scrolling. It's most of the times it's not healthy, and something that we usually read here and there is that we should create more than we consume, and I think that's good. I think like that's my like this is if you're putting content out there, you're creating something which is likely going to benefit you more than just consuming. But I think for me it's very hard to define. Like yesterday I was having some beer. I went to a couple bars, and my brand, one of my brands, it's beer, and it's in Portugal. So I'm visiting, and I actually started to do that like very recently. When I go to a place, actually making stories of the place, it doesn't hurt me. Like it's very easy, and actually it benefits the places that I go to. And most of the times I know them, or like I want to help them. So it's like, actually I'll take a couple minutes of my time. Maybe I'll stop a conversation to actually take a couple of pictures, because that's important for the business. And the thing is, like, when you're giving, you get more. So if you are doing that, and it's visibility, then a lot of times I thought, like, why should I be promoting this bar or whatever? But it's actually the opposite. Like, why shouldn't I? I'm actually here, and it doesn't hurt me like just post like one or two stories of this place that I actually like. And by doing that, then you gain, because that bar is going to share your story, you're tagging this or that, and like you'll get, people will pay you back somehow. And you shouldn't be looking to like get that payment back, but like you'll get it eventually. But the thing for me is, like, it's beer. Like, I'm drinking beer. That's leisure. But also that's a bit of work, because that's the niche where I'm at. So like I'll have meaningful conversations. So like I think it's very hard to define where's work or not. But I see myself, like a few days ago, I went to this mini golf kind of thing in Lisbon, which is like, it's super sexy. Like, it's, there's neon lights, and I'm like, I obviously I'm gonna make a reels out of it. This is gonna be like a banger. Like, it's a nice place. It's cool. So, and that's kind of like, again, like, as there is like, these could, like, I would be charging them these like mini golf place in Lisbon for that reels, for that TikTok. Like, that's the content that they actually have. And it's very interesting that suddenly I'm filming like multi shots, different perspectives. I'm gonna edit that. I'm gonna add music. So like, suddenly you're spending like an hour or like something editing something for leisure. Like, I just want to share that. It's not work specifically, but I like it. So I think it's very hard for me to, like, more on the, not so much on the consuming it, which obviously I spend a lot of time consuming as well. But on the creating, is like, I don't know where's the line. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think in terms of that, we're really really different because you see you kind of have that mindset of a photographer. You see something beautiful, you want to capture it. You know, as I, for me, as I want to capture it, but I also know where it comes from. I want to know what it's doing there. So I always have this kind of story that I want to know more. Not to capture the beautiful things, because for that, it's
Hmm.
I'll probably talk to a guy like you. I said I had this story in my mind, and w- how can we make this beautiful? You know, because I have it here and I can write it, but if I want to show it to people, I would probably need a guy like you. Probably because I just don't have the technical skills, and I don't have what it takes to make that beautiful. But I understand that it might seem work to you, but it's not, because it's also a practice. You see it, you love it, you want to share it, and that's also putting your creativity. It's kind of, it's still mindless, because it mindless, not mindless, this is not the correct word. It's it's not work. I don't think it's work, because you're actually doing something you love. I think
Hmm.
it's only work when you're like, when you're not taking any kind of happiness from that. And I think when you share something that you think it's beautiful.
Well, let me challenge that, because for instance, in like these, like I went to this mini golf experience, and like I'm filming it, and there's a story of that. And in my previous job, like I would do something similar, which is like we are brewing something, or like we've got this collab with these whatever Apple uh, tree place, and we go there, and like whatever it is, I'm having a lot of fun. Like I'm getting paid. I like to do it, and perhaps I like to do it as much as when I'm like in my free time. Which is again, like you're very lucky when you actually have the chance to be like in a place where you actually enjoy what you're doing. But I think like if that's the case, I think it's the same thing. It's just like one is being paid and the other one is not. But I think it's like it's the same. Like it's kind of is a similar level of commitment, is a similar level of quality. Perhaps I'll drop it a little bit with my stuff, or maybe not, because I might have more time. And when I'm working, I have like a specific. Like I think it's like it's
It's
actually
hard.
very very similar. But what I see is like by doing this on my leisure time is like if you're hiring me, I'm more valuable because I'm going to be quicker, I'm going to be better, and that's actually true. Like that's proven true. And I see myself, in stuff like I'll make a story or I'll make a reels while I'm drinking. Like that happened like last week. I'm drinking. Like I was filming a vlog. I put the camera down. I grab my phone. I make like 3 or 4 different shots, like I'm recording the soundtrack, like to have then layered down, so that the music is always going to be the same. I'll have kind of b-roll, and then at the 10 seconds I'll have the singer singing those words, and then cut to b-roll, 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 and then I've got like a 15 seconds perfect, I would say. And I've done that like while I was on a concert, while I was with other people, like in 15 minutes. And I think this is crazy. Like, and the more you do it, the more the faster you get it, you get at doing it. And yeah, like I think it makes us more valuable, I think.
Yeah, I think I always told these people that have worked with me that always said, "Oh, how can you do this so fast?" Or how do you take so much joy into doing this? To me, this is a job, and well, sometimes it is a job. Other times it's
Mhm.
just your passion, and if you're doing something that you love, it still is a job, but it's also play. And I think we as humans, we have forgotten ha- what it is to play and how enjoyable that experience is. So I know this is not true for everyone, and I'm not here bragging or anything, but if we can have our work be something that we love, it's like we're being children again, playing with other kids on the playground. And it's really cool to have had that experience, and do things that you love, and sometimes getting paid for that. So Cool. Really cool.
But I believe even both on person like on personal time, for instance, like I believe it's about choosing. It's like there's sacrifice there, which is to edit this video, to make this story, to like to adjust it better, to like put the captions, like you're sacrificing like 2 minutes with whoever you're having a beer with, or like 5 minutes or perhaps more. Yesterday I was like editing something, and that took me like to go to a place by myself for an hour to work on something rather than meeting friends like an hour earlier, which is like I think that there's always sacrifice. But the thing, and I think what I feel is like at this moment I would rather be drinking beers with my friends, but the joy that I'll take from actually posting these, and then the reaction that I'll get through that, and the possibility that that might spark something else, I think that's what makes the sacrifice valuable for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that we kind of combined, you know, our visions, our brains, and our creativity by coming together, the two of us, to do this podcast, this socially wired podcast, because we were kind of in the similar, places. I was kind of in a rut. I wanted to pursue YouTube, but kind of in a rut. And you were kind of, getting into your own thing professionally and also content creation wise. And we kind of, boosted each other. At least I feel that you have boosted me to into
Mhm.
creating and into doing
I
things. And yeah, it's kind of like it's a partnership in crime for let's inspire each other to create, because yeah, it's easier when you don't feel alone. And you're a great guy to work with, so it's a good thing. It's a win-win for me. I don't know.
Well, no, thanks. No, that's the thing. As I was saying before, like your pathway was inspiring for me, and I wanted to learn. How have you done it? Like both on the freelance, but also like how can you focus on YouTube and content creation? And for me, it was interesting when like I was happy to have a bit of your time to to help me out. But then I understood that as we discuss small things, technicalities, tools and stuff, that's actually that's very valuable. So it's not just like on because I could have like an hour or a couple hours with you, like show me how you set up your freelance stuff. But I think having like meeting constantly, it was way more helpful, and we actually take stuff home, and I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it's been beneficial for me because you have so many skills and so many experiences that I didn't have, and I think this is what a real partnership is. And I'm not. We were supposed to discuss a bit of like partnerships here, and mostly influencer marketing, but I don't want to dwell into influencer marketing, but I want to focus on partnerships, because it's the same thing. When a brand approaches an influencer, they both kind of leverage their unique skills to try to reach other people, try to reach other audiences and stuff. But here, okay, we might reach audiences, but we are mostly leveraging or elevating our knowledge by kind of, talking to each other and seeing what we are going through and how can I help you, or and how can you help me, because you had so many experiences. And I think you are awesome because you have this tremendous skill to look at something, it looks beautiful, but when you shoot it, it's also beautiful, because that is a challenge. In case people don't know, if you look at something, oh, it looks really beautiful, but when you capture it, it's poop, and Tiago really has, you really have this skill. Yeah, you really have that skill to look at something and you capture it. So I think I've been learning a lot with you. And yeah, I think people should, consider not going through certain paths or all of life's paths, professional paths alone, because we are living in the era of communication, and we Tiago lives in Brussels, and we talk every other week or every week about stuff. And you always have something to teach me, and yeah, I think part.
But likewise, likewise, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, processes, like, for instance, like Notion, like for me, it's like, being thinking of like organizing something into something, and now I'm absolutely using it for client work, for myself, for the different, podcasts and different stuff that I have. Like I'm using it, like, and I love it, and I wouldn't do it alone. Like it's actually talking with someone. It's not like sometimes you see, people, your Peter McKinnon is like, yeah, you should use Notion. You're like, sure, but you're not like me. Like you might have different needs or whatever. And I think, like with you is actually, we have like very similar needs, and we can discuss tools, and that's what we've been doing. And we test stuff, like we learn stuff, and like I'm very thankful as well. And like you were talking about like video and stuff, and you can think stuff way better than I can. And I think that's, like planning stuff, organizing stuff, thinking stuff, strategizing. That's not so much, my kind of skills. I've been trying to learn and to get better at it. And I think that's why, like, it's, for me, it's also very important, because I'm learning a lot as we go.
Yeah.
So I think that's, collabing. It's, there's specific collabs that you do here and there. And you cross, like, audiences, as you said, or something. But also like on long term partnerships, collaborations. Like I think it's very valuable. Actually, on my podcast, I just got like a sponsor that I'm actually going to do some freelance with them, and that was yesterday. I was having a meeting with them, and actually it goes way beyond like the specifically the sponsoring or the collaboration. It's like I'm telling what I think their business should do. Like I'm giving like some, and I think that's the value of it. They're not just getting their logo stamped on whatever. It's way more than that, and I think that's the real value. It's like when you get more, like you'll get more stuff than just the the logo or the audience. It's like you learn, and I think that's probably the best.
Yeah, I was going to mention that because you've been working with a few brands, brand names here in Portugal, mainly associated with the beer or the craft beer industry here in Portugal. And you've been to a few festivals and covering those beer fests and stuff. And that is a cool partnership for you and for the niche that you are working in. And that is really kind of a validation of who you are as a professional, as a creative, as a person, because you are doing this that is really, really rich for those brands. So they, the fact that you will collab with them, not just by covering their event or talking about their event, but they also want to have kind of this consultation with you to get
Exactly.
your knowledge about how to run things, how to be, I don't know, how to communicate things, because you also have a communications background working with brands and then doing their marketing. So that is kind of the validation of who you are as a professional. And I think brands only have things to win if they collab more with influencers. I don't really want to talk about influencer marketing, but I know these content creators that also have a background in communication that can be the face of those brands in certain occasions, or even, I don't know, just adopting that person to be the spokesperson for their content or their social media channels. I don't know. I think people will resonate better with a face on these brands' content, and I think that's where you come into place right now, working with these beer brands here in Portugal. So I think it's a win-win both for the creator, and in your case, someone that has a background in communications and in marketing. uh, and them, because you already have an audience, you already have knowledge, and they need to get their message across and have more people looking at them, more eyeballs. And I think this is really, really beneficial. We're talking about beer, but we could be talking about other markets, other niches,
Hmm.
and it would be the same thing. And sometimes you don't even have to be a thousand, don't have to have like 1,000 followers to get that, authority. Because here in Portugal, the beer, Portugal is a small country, and the beer industry in Portugal, they all know you and they all know your podcasts. So that is valuable. That is valuable.
Yeah, but I think it's like, being able, like, in the end, like, I wanted to leverage, I wanted to communicate stuff. I wanted to communicate, in this specific case, beer. And you were actually you wearing a Dois Corvos t-shirt that I've worked with them for 5 years. And it was when I started also my podcast at some point. And the thing is, like, I was there, I was able to communicate beer in a specific way. So, like, I was not able to to talk to a camera, for instance. That was not part of the communication that we thought it was good. Then when I moved to Brussels, I kind of like done that like a little bit more. But on both of these places, like, I was the face of one brand, and I could not be the face of more brands. So, like, my way to communicate was like through my podcast, my brand, my beer, social media. But it was limited, and now I can lend my face to other brands. And I think, and that allows me to actually keep doing communicating to other people, communicating beer, share my knowledge or expertise or something. But now I can do with other brands, and that opens the door that I couldn't do before, and that's the door that I'm using right away. And yesterday we were talking about that in that meeting that I was talking about. And for me, it's very exciting to be able to actually collaborate with brands and land my face as a beer communicator. And that's how I position myself. When I wrote my first bio, it was like, my name is Tiago and I'm a beer communicator. And that was when I wrote that, I knew that would become something eventually. And I think it's happening now, and that's very, it's very rewarding as a creator and a creative, to be able to get those moments that you're like, that made sense to start that like 4 years ago. It's finally paying off, and I think that's it's great.
Yeah, yeah. And surely will only bring you better and more uh, thrilling challenges and adventures. So just, yeah, way to go, man. Way to go. Okay, let's wrap it up for
Yeah,
today.
let's do it. Yeah, I'm super excited. Yeah, you can see in our faces. But yeah, I think it was a beautiful conversation, a little bit on the tech news, but then also through our journeys as creators, and how we use tech to leverage our personal brands, and the power of collaboration, which I think is very, very important. So if you have the chance to collaborate, to find someone that is on sharing a journey with you, that perhaps inspires you somehow, yeah, just go ahead and send that DM. Ask them, like, how do they do whatever, and likely people will be happy to share some time with you, to jump on a call with you, perhaps. But most importantly, is like, make sure you get in touch with people that you feel they are doing the same journey that you are, because if you're actually doing that, you will get a lot of benefits from that.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for listening or watching us on YouTube, and we'll see you on next episode. Bye.